Willy, we've heard today from Carlos Iglesias, the lawyer, of the importance of EU member states adopting legislation that specifically criminalises forced organ harvesting, thus creating a legal instrument whereby the guilty can be chased and prosecuted. How important do you think that actually is?
It is, of course, a huge step that the EU has taken with regard to forced organ harvesting. Of course, there had always been resolutions from the European Parliament against the dictatorship in China and its impact on the egregious violations of human rights, especially of religious groups, but also other groups, and among religious groups, Falun Gong practitioners. But now, really, I think and I hope that the EU is on the way to sanctions about the practice in China, and also those who are responsible and accomplices of such practice. So that was an excellent initiative, and now it must be monitored how it will be implemented in the field, in the ground, in the field in China, and on the ground outside China. So a monitoring mechanism now should be put in place to identify the hospitals or the medical doctors outside China that would be part of the system, of that egregious system, but also identify names of hospitals and medical staff in China that should be put on the list of sanctions and not have access to the territory of the European Union.
And do you think that this criminalisation should be extended to those Europeans who travel to China for these organs, which are taken from healthy living people, and then they travel back to Europe? Do you think those people should be criminalised as well?
I think that those people should be prosecuted for taking part on an illegal practice, medical practice, for sure. But everything has to be put in place for such a mechanism. And the EU might be the first international or political international organization that could give such a good example to moralize the practices in the medical field in China and also out of China, because there are also organ trafficking cases outside that country.
How realistic do you think it is that EU member states would adopt such legislation, given their economic ties with China? Do you think that they might feel, well, actually, it's best not to rock the boat too much?
I think, anyway, that the EU should promote, and more than promote, put in practice in a concrete way the values that it defends. And I don't think that they should be frightened by any form of negative activities in the commercial areas and other areas from China for taking such a strong position. But for sure, those who go to China to get from Europe or from North America to get specific organs or order them through various illegal channels, of course, should be prosecuted. There has always been resolutions against China concerning Falun Gong and that practice, also about the Uyghurs, the persecution of Uyghurs for education by millions of people. So only this criminalization would not have a strong negative reaction by China, and the North America and the EU countries should not be afraid of making that very important step of identify those Westerners who go to China, who order organs in China in very suspicious ways.